The Priceless Gift question answer. What did the writer experience in the restaurant? The writer went to a vegetarian restaurant in the lunchtime. The restaurant was crowded. He chose the corner table and skimmed through the newspaper. Second question. What did he notice there? The writer noticed a very young girl looking at him. Her eyes were large and they had a sad expression. Number 3. What was the writer's first impression of the girl? The writer noticed a young girl whose eyes were large and had sad expression, and when she inquired about him to the cashier, the writer became curious. He wanted to know about her. Fourth, what made the writer surprised? The girl was looking at the writer and wanted to know whether he was an Indian. When she inquired about him to the cashier and once again looked at the writer, this made the writer surprised. Fifth, why did he inquire from the cashier? He noticed that the girl was interested to know about him, and when she asked the cashier about the writer, it made writer curious to know what it was exactly. So he went to the cashier and inquired about the girl from him. 6. What information did he get from the cashier? The cashier told the writer that the girl went to that restaurant on Saturdays. She went to the restaurant on payday only because she didn't earn much. 7. Where did the writer go on the next Saturday? Next Saturday, the writer went to the same restaurant where he had noticed that girl. 8. Why did he arrange the chair opposite hers? The writer went to the same restaurant and saw the same girl sitting at the same table as before. He took the chair and arranged opposite to her because he wanted to talk to her. 9. What query did the girl make about the writer? The girl asked the writer whether he was an Indian. 10. What impression did the writer 10. What impression did the writer have about the family of the girl? The writer came to know that her brother was a soldier and was serving in India. Her brother was the only guardian of her family. She lived with her widow mother. The writer understood that both of them, especially her mother, wanted to know about him and was worried of him. 11. How was the writer treated at Maggie's house? Who was there to welcome him? The writer was welcomed with eagerness and smile. He was treated with happiness and respect. Mrs. Bethy, Maggie's mother, welcomed him. 12. What was Mrs. Bethy doing when the writer met her? Why was she unwilling to go for a handshake? Mrs. Bethy was making cakes when the writer met her. As her hands were covered with flour, she was not able to go for a handshake. 13. Why did the girl usually visit the restaurant on Saturdays? The girl did not earn much. She visited the restaurants on Saturdays because it was her pay days. 14. What did Mrs. Bethy believe about the ring? Mrs. Bethy believed that the ring was special and magical. She believed that one can know about a distant person when one gazed into it and concentrated on it. 15. What made the author to tell a lie about the ring? Maggie insisted the author to look into the ring and tell her mother that Frankie was alive and well. The author thought that it would not be okay to lie once for making Mrs. Bethy recover from her illness. 16. Did the telling of a lie benefit Mrs. Bethy? Yes, telling of lie did benefit Mrs. Bethy. When the author looked into the ring and told Mrs. Bethy that Frankie was alive and well, this made her happy and soon she was recovered. 17. Why did the writer feel guilty about himself? When the writer calculated and realized that Frankie had been killed before some day when he had lied about his well-being to his mother, the realization of his lie made him feel guilty. 18. What was Maggie's gift to the writer? When the writer told Maggie that he was going to India, he also told her that he would visit her brother's grave and write to her. Then Maggie thanked him and gave him a shilling which she had earned with much toil. She wanted the author to buy flowers from a shilling and lay on her brother's grave. 19. Why was it a priceless gift? The girl's economic condition was not so good, and she earned every penny with much toil. A shilling that she earned with much toil represents her greatest gift for her brother. 20. Did Maggie love her brother dearly? Give reasons. Yes, Maggie loved her brother Frankie with all her heart. Her love for him was unconditional. She had to take much efforts to earn single penny, and she kept a shilling for buying flowers for her brother's grave. This act shows how deep her love was for her brother.